Very well. Looks like we are ready, so let us pray. Dear Father, thank you for another day to come to your church and open our minds so that we can review this lesson the best that we can, and also our hearts so that we can make it part of us and live it in an everyday life. In the name of Jesus we ask you. Amen. Well, we have a lesson that it was very important at the times of the apostles and the new church established by Jesus Christ. It is also very important for the church nowadays, the one that we're living in, because of the social things that are going on, political and social things that are going on in the world. So, above all things, have fervent love for one another, for love will cover a multitude of sins. The first part is the one that I want to talk about first, to love one another. Because nowadays, the norm, if it's not explicit that you can figure it out, then love to one another is only if it benefits me. I will love you only if I can get something out of it. If I cannot get anything from you, then I don't love you. And right here it tells you, love one another. And it goes on and on to teach us that we gotta love people that even though we don't like, even though they're hurting us.
Even though the differences.
No difference or anything like that. Because let me jump ahead. Who is it that we ought to respect and do as they say here in the lesson? Somebody that a lot of people saying, don't do anything because you're doing something wrong. Who is it? Our government. The Bible, God, and in this lesson is telling us we ought to respect everybody, including the government. It's not our problem if they're doing something wrong, if they're inefficient. It is a problem, but I mean, it's not who's going to judge them? God is going to judge them eventually. If we can do something about it, we will. But we have to do our part. Let me give you an example. In a household, if the husband or the wife doesn't do anything good, the other one he cannot justly say, I didn't cook, I didn't clean the house because you made me angry. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Even though you made me angry, the house still needs to be cleaned. Mm-hmm. It's absurd to think that we ought to behave wrongly because somebody else is. We got to do our part. We got to be Christians when things are good and when things are not as good. That's what the lesson is telling us. We have a social responsibility. Right? Let us continue. And then, of course, everything falls in place. Sometimes we try to fix the problems, and the best way to fix the problems is by us being good. It's to cover a multitude of sins. It has other meanings, but one is that. Because he's also talking about husband and wife. We should marry an unfaithful person, an unchristian person, and it says the advice is what? No. Just treat him with care, treat him with love, treat him with Christian principles, and so on, and that other person more than likely will be one for the cause. But not by reprimanding and telling them and hitting them with you're doing wrong, no. How was the best thing? With our good behavior. That's what the lesson is telling us. I'm giving you the conclusion at the beginning so that we don't wonder. What should we do as Christians? Love one another. Show them a good example. And what is the example that we have ourselves as Christians? Very simple. Who do we copy? Who do we try to? Jesus. The world would spare a lot of trouble if they do just that. But when they try to help somebody else, they don't try to help them, they try to fix them. Instead of showing them the example, you ought to do this, you ought to do that, that's wrong, instead of showing them the example with their own lives, right? That's what the lesson is telling us. Let's keep on going. Remember that Peter, the book, we call it a book, but it's what? It's a letter. It's a real letter that he wrote in response to the circumstances that the churches in the Asia Minor were going through. Sometimes direct questions. What should we do for, now we are Christians, we don't know how to behave. How we should do this, how we should do that. And he was answering to them. Sometimes direct questions, sometimes he noticed behaviors, or some changes that needed to be done, some advice, and he wrote them a letter. So it is a real letter. That's why I said it applies. It applied to them and it applies to us. Because we have the same behavior. Right? The same things. Right here, it starts by saying church and state. You know what that means? Church and state. The state is referring to who? Sometimes we call them state, but more than likely we call it what? Government. And what if you open your eyes to the social media, to the whether if it's traditional newspapers, radio, television, or nowadays in the internet, social networks, what is it that people say about government? Be honest. Do they say nice things? They don't. It is funny, because one party says something bad about the other one, and the other party says something bad about the other one. And they all wash their hands. No, I don't want to do it. No, I don't want to do it because I'm my president. No, he's my president. And so it's like, give me a break. And what is Peter telling us to do? What is Peter telling us to do with the government? Thank you very much. Because she used a very proper word. To submit to the government. Who established governments? That's another question, direct question. Who established governments? And kings and lords, and who established them? God! Contrary to what the devil is trying to believe, God is still in control.
And there's no government that's perfect.
Thank you. So, should we have compassion to them? Should we help them? Should we criticize them instead of helping them? We should help them. We can criticize them, but because we have the right. They are giving us the right to. They're giving us a way to criticize us and to send them letters and to show grievances and so on. But we gotta help them. What did President Kennedy say in a long time ago? See, do not think what America can do for you, but do not ask what America can do for you, but do ask what can you do for America? He probably read that he got inspired by the Bible. Who knows? I think he did. Right? Because we're always thinking about that. Like I said, I will love you if I can get something from you.
That's right.
That is wrong. And that's what President Kennedy was trying to fix. And that is what Peter is trying to fix, and it was God's trying to fix. Love one another. And one another is talking about the state, about the government. Margaret, what you say?
Jesus even submitted himself to when he was persecuted. He still submitted himself to the government, and actually until it doesn't break the principle of God, we ought to obey to the state, as he said.
Exactly.
The government. We are the living stone until we have a connection with our Creator. We are a living stone of God.
Yes.
And our relations depends when it shows the greatest test of Christianity, showing through our relations to one another as we love one another. That's the greatest test.
Exactly. How is the world going to know that we are Christians? Like Margaret is saying, how is the world going to know that we're Christians?
To us.
When we
Conduct.
Exactly by our conduct, but following what we're saying, by our law. Let me say, you know this, but I'm going to remind the class right now, including myself. They might be not Christians. They might not be sometimes, they might not have formal education, but they know this. They know how to test Christians. They know where or who is a true Christian. Because the Bible explains how a Christian should be. And sometimes we brag that we're Christians. So they say, aha, so you're Christians. They test us. And we will be willing to be good Christians. And like Margaret says, we ought to submit to the state, we ought to submit to the rulers, unless they are in great conflict with the principles of God. That's our true test. And sometimes they don't want to hurt us.
They just want us to live up to the requirements.
Yeah.
Our greatest quality is to live up to it, our professions. They
Yes.
want us.
Exactly. There's some testimonies that I heard. The people, true testimonies, people being persecuted. And they ask them, they test them. Whether they tell them to work on the Sabbath, tell them to drink something, or they test them. They're just testing them. They don't want to make them fall. Once they pass the test, tell them, you know what, I knew you were going to pass. I like you. They even tell them. I heard the testimonies. But when they fail, they know this is a fake. And they don't like the word. They don't like fakes. They might be non-Christians, but they don't like it. So, it's best to our best to be genuine Christians. But submit to the other ones first. Now, what is the biggest thing that when we are upset, angry about the government, what is the first thing that we don't want to do? What is it that we don't want? We complain and we don't want to do. What is it? Very easy. Yeah, but in which way? It has to do with money, taxes. And says, please.
You know, I get so confused sometimes because we shouldn't let the state rule, the government rule. Our church, you know, state and church should be set differently. But on the news now, it's showing where there's several Christian churches that are asking the government for money.
Mm-hmm.
And Peter is saying, isn't he saying we should obey the government, but not when it interferes with God?
Mm-hmm.
Like God is saying that we can't, the state is saying we can't have prayers in church or anything in our church schools. Well, this is interfering with God, and isn't Peter saying we should obey the government, but not when it interferes with God?
Yeah. When we hit the borderline, when we're very close to the borderline, we have to ask for divine intervention. We gotta pray. Because sometimes we can see that it is by obeying the rulers, the government is going to be disobeying God. And which one should win? Obeying God. But sometimes it's not very clear, right? So we have to be in prayer. Sometimes we don't know it's not a clear answer.
I'm not meaning we should pay our taxes or things like that, but I'm saying that we really believe that the state should be kept separate from our schools.
It should, because obviously it hasn't worked. It's not going to work right now if we put it together, right? Because loving God is based on especially that love, and it should be voluntarily. Once we start doing, like paying, it's just like us paying somebody to come over here, or making that church so attractive so that people will come here. Meaning giving them things, giving them money, offering what they want. They're going to come here for what? For those things. They're not going to come here for because they really love God. So we have to be very careful with that, right? But right here, right now, the lesson is telling that we ought to submit And then one of the things we gotta submit is, it's like, we gotta do our part. Just what I gave you the example. Oh, I didn't clean the house because you made me angry. That is totally wrong. The house still needs to be clean. Same thing with the taxes. And Norma, please, before I.
Well, I was thinking back to your, excuse me, talking about the example that we are to others.
Mm-hmm.
And I read something in the paper the other day. You've probably read maybe too about the festival that's going on.
Yes.
And how they had set up a place for pot smokers and liquor and so on, separate. Well, somebody wrote a little note in the newspaper in response, and they said, I may smoke a marijuana once in a while, but he said he felt that that pot place set up was nothing but Sodom and Gomorrah. Well, here's someone who was smoking pot once in a while, but what was he really expecting? He was expecting some Christianity from somebody, that he had enough that he recognized what Sodom and Gomorrah was, and that we were nearing that situation. But also then I found out that they have now closed that this weekend and next. Evidently, they didn't get as much business as they wanted. But, you know, these are the examples. Somebody may not be living it, but they expect it from some of the rest of us.
Yes, I see your point. It's just like this person was expecting the Christian community to say something about it. That he didn't hear or see anything, so therefore he posted that note on the newspaper. Do you see what we're talking about? And you see the effects all the way over here. The freeway was packed on the returning days and the coming in days. The freeway was packed bumper to bumper for miles, and even in the adjacent streets. And on the service stations, it was packed of people going to the festival. And we were wondering last Sabbath, you know, where is the junk people? Well, one place is that.
That's where they're going.
Instead of here in the church, right? So, going back to these church and state, one of the complaints that we have is that when the government is doing the right thing, we don't want to pay taxes. We think it's unfair. And a lot of times it is. We can prove it, right? We can argue that point. Double taxation, it's too much, and we don't get the services in return, and all that. We're all intelligent people. We can see if it's unjust or unjust. That's not the matter. The matter is that we got to do our part. But can we complain to the government? Dwayne knows that very well. Can we complain to them?
Oh, protest is part of the liberty that the country was developed by. And fairness. Everybody has an equal opportunity to say, I don't like that, but you can't burn up the city because you don't like it.
Exactly.
You can express your protest. Yes. That's a proper part of the freedom of democracy.
The freedom of democracy.
Republicanism.
Yes.
It's free.
So you see, it doesn't mean that we blindly are going to just pay taxes and pay them even more than that. And when they do something we're not going to do or say anything, we will. It's part of making it work. They don't know what is going on. We have the right and the obligation to let them know things are not going right. Sometimes they don't know.
And our senators and representatives want to hear what we feel about things.
Exactly. They encourage us to participate, to send them letters, to write in internet blogs and all those things. They do. They ask us to participate. So it doesn't mean that we are going to do it blindly. We are intelligent people and we can talk to them. But we got to do our part in an orderly manner. Right? In an orderly manner. Let me give you, before I go with you again, let me give you this example. This is my opinion, but I'm going to use it and I'm going to share it with you. When Jesus saw the poor woman giving all that he got to the church, what did he say about the woman? He praised the woman because he gave everything she had. Now, let me tell you something. Did Jesus knew or know what the leaders in the church were going to do with that money? Were they doing everything that they were doing was good, or they were using the money in a wrong way sometimes? They knew everything. They knew they were going to get 30 pieces of silver to pay Judas to betray him. But he didn't say to the woman, listen, woman, keep your change. You need it. You can do better with it than to give it to the church. He didn't do that. As a matter of fact, in one occasion, he did what did he say to Peter? Go get that money from that fish and pay our taxes. You see, he liked the order. He respected the authorities. Remember the coin? When they told him, is it legal for us to pay taxes or not to pay taxes? And he said, give me a coin. What is the image here? See, you give to Caesar what is Caesar, and give God to what is God. So it is very important that we know these principles so that we do it orderly, so that we have like Christians, so that we have the example of Jesus Christ, so we follow it, right? Who's next? Margaret?
God doesn't want unity with the society, but it requires sometimes self-denial. In marriage, unity mostly depends from the heart, not from the mind. A believer wife, I wish if I could look upon mostly on the possibility of God in my husband, not on the differences. We are different. We are, even though the differences, a believer have to look for unity and with compassion, with not to give back evil with evil. It just requires self-denial and not to look for happiness in freedom from the marriage. No. Jesus in the kingdom of in his eternal kingdom, he's gathering people who make it habit in this earth, make it habit to unite, to express his love and self-denial and love and unconditional love, even though the differences. A husband in a marriage, in a marriage, a wife has to accept the husband as the head of the family. And my husband was not a believer, made fun of it, but still as a believer, a wife who believes, I should have looked for, conduct my life much more love and patience and forgiveness, and not accept his divorce. I would say.
Okay, let me help you a little bit.
But
as a believer,
it's very difficult and painful. I talked with Margarita also.
Yes. Let me help you a little bit. As Christians, it's just like being the teachers. We have the obligation to teach the other ones. And the best way to teach other ones is with our behavior again. Right? Now, the lesson tells us, we're jumping one section, but it's okay, that if the other person doesn't want to hear it, doesn't want to comply, doesn't want to listen to what the Word of God, he's free to go. He's free to go. And we are okay. We are free from the burden. Right? Now, the other one that you were mentioning of self-denial, it's more like self-control. Because in a situation we as Christians, we as teachers, we have to be in control. Some of you have been teachers. One of the things that you don't want to do in the middle of a class, in the middle of a job, is to lose control. Because the students, the group, they're going to take over. Even though you don't know the subject, even though you don't prepare for it, you have to stand still and be in self-control so that they don't even notice. You got to be in control. Same thing with people that are non-believers. We have to be in control. We have to show them that God is with us. We have to show them the principles. They're going to test us, so we're going to have to. Did he test you? Yes. Did the students test you? Yes, they do. Did the people in the world around Christian test us? Yes, they do. And we got to pass the test. Not easy. Because sometimes I say, some of the people in the neighborhood, they don't clean their houses. And guess what? Yesterday I was cleaning my house. It was hot. I was tired. And I remember what I said. And I would say, this is what happens to me for talking too much. So I better clean it. And I stay with it. We got to do as we say, right? Okay, let us go back to the lesson. Masters and slaves. Back then, in the times of the apostles and Jesus, there were slaves. Many. And he was giving advice to the slaves to stay loyal to their masters. Whether they were nice to them, whether they were being mean to them. Nowadays, here, at least here in the United States and our neighbors, we don't have slaves. But we have something similar, don't we?
Boss.
We have supervisors. We work for somebody else. We're, in a way, we are slaves of our jobs. Because if we don't work, we don't eat, we don't pay the rent. So, are there many abuses? Yes, of course. We'll do as they say, because if we don't, we lose our jobs, and then we can eat, we cannot pay the mortgage, and so on and so forth. So, we're actually sort of like slaves, right? Servants. Exactly. So we're workers. We call it workers, call it servants. It's similar to being slaves. And sometimes we get a very mean boss. Have you had one?
Yes.
I have too. And what is the best thing that you can do? According to what Peter is saying. What?
It was the mouth shut.
Zip it and do what? Continue what? Continue working.
That's right.
Working, and another part of the Bible says when you do a job, you do it as if who's your boss? God. And you're going to do the best that you can. And therefore, they might be angry, but not at you, because they cannot get you. Because you're doing things right.
Or maybe they're going to praise God.
And eventually they're going to, who did that? Let me tell you who did that. He was testing and ended up being a loyal God servant, Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar said, oh, okay, you ought to do this, you ought to do that, test the young guys, including Daniel. They passed the test, and eventually Nebuchadnezzar recognized God as his master. So you're right, Margaret. Anyway, we got to submit to them. Can we complain? In a proper way? Yes, we can. But we got to continue working. Yes.
Yeah, you were right. Just a minute ago, you mentioned before I knew Jesus, it was like every Sunday evening, I get this pit in my stomach because I knew Monday was coming the next day and I had to go to work. But once I learned about Jesus, that mindset, the suffering, and that kind of went away because I knew I wasn't working so much for man, but for the Lord.
Yes.
It helps a lot
Oh, yeah.
to think that way. And let me give you another example related to this. A lot of people complain about pay. Oh, such and such is getting more money than me, and I do twice as much work. Whose money is that? Is the owner of the business. Does he have the right to pay whoever he wants whatever amount? It's his money. Of course he does. So, remember the people that came to work first at the beginning of the day, those at midday, those towards the end of the day, and they all got paid the same? Read that part, and it says, I'm the master, I can pay whoever I want, whatever I want. You make an agreement with me, take it or leave it. See, we gotta respect our commitments. We gotta respect our word. If I said I'm gonna work with you for the minimum wage, I will. If somebody else comes along and gets paid twice as much, well, that's his deal. I might be able to negotiate that again, but I shouldn't be complaining. We should respect what we agree. See, Christians, if I don't like it, there's proper way for me to find another job, right?
Yeah.
But not to complain, to be angry, to talk bad, or we're Christians. Remember. Anyway, respect our masters. And then Margaret already talked about wives and husbands. We have to be also in the same way. We have an unbeliever partner, husband or wife. We have to respect them. We have to treat them. We are the teachers. Now, if they don't want to, if they want to leave, and nothing we can do.
Well, we have so much that we have to endure in this life.
Exactly. What we have to endure at work, in our houses, everywhere that we go. Sometimes, unfortunately, even at church, right?
Even in the grocery store.
Even at the grocery store, exactly. We have all been in situations, even at the grocery store, right? But we have to stand firm. I remember I was going to a class, a one-day class for writing. They sent a group of us at work for some professional writing. Anyway, and the teacher gave us this example. It's telling about an aunt that told her that. She said, "Oh, where are you going?" "Oh, I'm just going here to the store, so it doesn't matter what I wear." You know what? It does matter.
Yeah.
Even if you're just going here to the store. So everywhere we go, say, "Oh, I'm just going over here." So it doesn't matter the way we look. No, it does matter. Everywhere that we go, even when we step outside our houses, does it matter the way we look? If we step outside in the front yard, does it matter? What is the answer? Of course it does. Is people watching? It looks like there's nobody, but they are watching. Right? So it does matter our behavior because it's important. Our image is important. I heard this nowadays. Oh, it doesn't matter the way we look, does it? Of course it does. You can run a test. The way they look at you is the way they are going to treat you. It shouldn't be that way. It should treat you everybody with respect. But it does help that we respect others by showing up, that we respect them by showing up clean and well-groomed and things like that, right? So we got to do that. Anyway, what else do we have here? Who was going to speak now? Okay, Margaret.
A lot of people say don't bring church home or don't bring church to the grocery store. We have to demonstrate Christianity, our self-denial and love in the grocery store and at home, of course. Just the opposite part of what you said, that people, we have to look different as Christians and not just act different. But on the other hand, we have to act in another aspect of it to bring our character, demonstrate our character at home and everywhere. So not to separate.
Yeah. It's just like the police officer, right? If they see somebody committing traffic violations, right? I wonder what they think when they see somebody that have a Christian sticker on the bumper. I always wonder about that. Because we already agree that out in the world people test us. And they see somebody claiming they're Christians and doing something that they shouldn't be doing, they're going to be wondering. That's the way it is. So somebody, oh, I'm going to do this at work. Same thing. Some people claim that they're going to, oh yeah, I've been supervisor, right? And I bring people for interviews to get hired. And they want to get hired. Yeah, I'm the man. I can do this, I know this, and I know that. What do you think? Am I going to test them? What do you think? Of course I am. I ask him a couple of questions. I might even take him out and see, show me. And guess what? A lot of percentage of them failed.
And sometimes when a winter comes, we put on the coat. When a winter goes, take it off. Some Christians, some of us, when a problem comes, we cry out to God. But when it goes, we leave Him alone.
Exactly.
And so in the trials and tribulations, I'm so thankful for that because He wants to mold my character. And when I pray, Lord, I let You mold my character because shine Your face upon me because I want to praise You in every circumstances. Jesus drink all of the cup, drink it all. And we have to do that. We have to drink it all.
That is
and put on our yoke.
That happened.
10 Commandments.
Yes, that happened to Peter. And Paul. Paul is the one that said, right? That he didn't want to do the bad things, but he was doing it. And he was struggling, and we all have. But we gotta have, when we don't feel that way, Margaret, when we don't feel bad about the things that we've done wrong, we're in trouble. Because that's precisely what God is telling us. That's why He's showing us the 10 Commandments, so that we can look at it and say, oops, I missed one or two, right? I need help. So anyway, going back over here, Peter knew these things very well. He learned the lesson, because one time, remember we were reading in the lessons, when he was leaving the church of non-Jews, he was talking to them, eating with them, right? And when the Christian Jews came, he will, I walked away from the non-Jews Christians and only talked to the Jews Christians. And Paul told him, what you're doing is wrong. So he learned his lesson to have good relationship with others. And our best way to teach it is not with words, telling them you're doing wrong, you're doing wrong. No, it's with our behavior. There's a few things that I want to do around the house with my neighbors. In the corner, they don't never clean the gutter. So it's full of dirt and grass is even growing. And I keep forgetting to go over there and clean it. It won't take me long. So I'm going to do that one of these days. I have to do it. Now that I'm saying to you, I'm committed myself to do it, right? It won't take me but 5 minutes. But I got to do that. I cannot go over there and knock on their doors and tell them, hey, listen, you got to clean your gutter, otherwise I'm going to report you. I can't do that. Behavior. Our behavior. We have to take more than other people. How many times did they struck Jesus and before He said something? He never said anything. He never said anything to them. Only when they asked Him a question towards the very end. Right? We're looking for Jesus. And what did He say?
Follow me.
No, when they were going to take him prisoner at the end, when they were going to ready to crucify Him, what did He say? We're looking for Jesus. What did He say? Remember? I am. And you remember what happened. They all fainted and all because He revealed His glory and so on and so forth, right? So anyway, only we got to follow His advice and His example. We can talk to people and tell them that they are doing wrong, but let's not do it like the world is doing. Because we are different. All right, we'll close with that. We can close with that.
Ellen White is saying the law of our land requires us to deliver a slave to his master. If that's what the law is requiring us, that we have to deliver a slave to its master, we are not to obey. and we must abide the consequences of violating this law. The slave is not the property of any man. God is his rightful master, and man has no right to take God's workmanship into his own hands and claim his innocence only. That really amazed me.
See, when we are asked to do, we have to measure it. Is this against God's law? If it is, then we have to obey who? God. If we're going to take the test because we are weak, let us pray to God, and he's going to spare us of that test. Because he's told us in the Bible that he's going to prove us, but not beyond the one that we can resist. So that could be a situation that can put us on the spot. Some of us are weaker than others. We might not be able to follow that. But if we are sincere with God, he's going to spare us of that test. He's loyal. He's going to only allow us to be tested to our capacity. He's not a mean master. Mean master, they test us to failure. He only tests us because he trusts us. When he said, remember Job, when he says, oh, try it, he told Satan, because he knew that he was going to pass the test. All right, so it's a big difference. So let us do as Jesus says, and Peter is reminding us. Let us treat others with respect, the society, government, authorities, teachers, anybody, and show them that we're doing good with our behavior. Thank you.